We have to consider all these 8 criteria. We have to consider that after or during the therapeutic aggravation, most of the times after the therapeutic aggravation, all these factors will get better. He will get better as a psychosomatic whole. Only then we talk about improvement. Only then we have given the right remedy. Only then we have prescribed well and the patient is really, truly getting better. You see how important it is to know how to do things according to the homeopathic and universal laws, according to the law of the whole, that we have to have an improvement of the whole, psychosomatic whole. We have to have apply the law of the hierarchy. We have to have improvement of the psychological state. We have to have only functional problems, only lower problems, skin problems, aggravated. Only then we can talk about therapeutic aggravation. If you don't follow these strict criteria, these criteria that are in accordance to the homeopathic and universal laws, then you are lost, and the patient is lost, and the case is lost. Now, let's talk about another thing. Something that is also very confusing. The pharmaceutical proving. Pharmaceutical proving. You all know what's a proving. A proving is when we experimentally, at laboratory conditions, on controlled conditions, we give the individual, to healthy individuals that participate at a homeopathic experiment called proving, under a strict procedure. We give to the individual a raw material, a plant or a mineral or a poison of a snake or of a bee that is very diluted in very light dosages, and we give it on again and again. Take this now, after half an hour or 1 hour, again, and again and again, and we stop giving it when the patient starts having symptoms, the first light symptoms. We stop giving it in order not to harm the individual, and in order to be able to follow the course of the poisoning gradually and see details, note down details. This is a proving. We do that in order to find out the pharmacological properties of that mineral or plant to the healthy organism, human organism. What is a pharmaceutical proving? A pharmaceutical proving is also a poisoning, but a poisoning that has happened during false and repeated energy poisoning from the homeopathic remedy that was not homeopathic. Let me explain what do I mean by that. A pharmaceutical proving is caused by giving not raw material. Let me compare these two. We have the proving and the pharmaceutical proving. We give raw material. We give irrelevant to the similimum homeopathic remedies. We give slight, low, repeated dosages. In pharmaceutical proving, we give high potencies repeatedly. In short, repeatedly and soon, quite soon. We give it to healthy people. We give it to patients or healthy people if we do preventive homeopathic medicine. We have functional symptoms, or if we continue, we may have pathological, because if we continue without any control and give great dosages, we avoid this and we only have functional symptoms because we control. If it was a poisoning that happened accidentally and not in controlled conditions, we would have also pathological symptoms, and we may have death in a poisoning that happens accidentally and not during the proving. But during the proving we have functional symptoms because it is a controlled study. In pharmaceutical proving, we have, when it happens, we have functional symptoms, again, that the patient didn't have before he came to us. He didn't have, and they are not part of his diseases. Our proving individual feels worse, and so does our patient. He feels worse. Physically and psychologically. This is a temporary situation, the proving. And this is also a temporary situation. It goes off when we stop, gradually, when we stop giving dosages, after some hours or days. This is also off if we stop giving homeopathic remedies, or that are irrelevant, or if we give the similimum, it stops. Or if we antidote the previous remedies by coffee. What really happens in a pharmaceutical program? Let me explain to you first something very important. We say that Medorinum is a homeopathic remedy. It is more correct to say that it is a remedy used in homeopathic treatment. But if I give this remedy to a patient that is Medorinum, then it acts homeopathically because it is similar. Homeo and pathic means it's from the Greek word similar, pathology. If the patient is under the influence of Medorinum and I give the homeopathic remedy Medorinum, then it acts according to the law of similarity, and we have a homeopathic action. But if I give Medorinum to a patient that is not Medorinum, that is Natrum muriaticum, something quite far away from this constitution, something irrelevant of this constitution, something quite different, then I don't have a homeopathic action. I don't have a similar action. Medorinum is generally a homeopathic remedy, but in this case it is not a homeopathic remedy, it is not similar, it is not a similimum. Now be careful. If I give to my patient a remedy that is the similimum, then he will get better 3 or 2, without any kind of problems. Maybe he may have a therapeutic aggravation or not. But if I give the similimum, he will get better, and quite better. If I give something similar or close, something similar to the similimum, he is relieved. We have a palliation. He gets a little bit better, maybe both physically and psychological, but not better as a whole, and this is a temporary improvement. Not a strong improvement, not as a whole, not permanent. If I give something irrelevant to the similimum, that is different but not opposite, then we have nothing, 0 result. The patient stays the same. It's as if he hasn't taken any remedy. If I give something that is quite opposite or quite different, then if the organism of the patient, if the organism of the patient is sensitive in the field of etheric energy, in the field of vital force, if his vital force is sensitive vital force, he may have a pharmaceutical proving. That is, he has the influence, he had already when he came to me, the influence of, let's say, Lycopodium, a psoric constitutional influence, and I gave him sepia, again 1M, 10M, 50M, again and again, every day, every week for 1 month, or just one sepia 1M. Then he develops a second layer, a second superficial layer, a layer that has to do with sepia, and he feels physically and psychologically worse because apart from the characteristics and symptoms of the constitutional influence of Lycopodium, he also has a recent and more strong layer with symptoms or characteristics of the sepia constitutional influence. He feels as if he is not himself because, and not well, because he has an unusual sum of new symptoms. And he tells you, I got worse after the homeopathic treatment. It is because the treatment was not homeopathic, was not the similium. And because it was very strong treatment and very high and repeated dosages of an irrelevant or opposite, of an opposite constitution, then and remedy, then we have this pharmaceutical proving. How can we be sure that it was a pharmaceutical proving? Because the patient says that he is worse as a whole, because the patient presents symptoms and characteristics that he didn't have before, and because these symptoms and characteristics have to do with the remedy, with the constitution that is corresponding to the remedy that he was prescribed for by another homeopathic doctor or by us. They have nothing to do with his real constitutional picture. It's a different, a new constitutional picture that didn't came up after a severe stress or vexation that happened to his life. If he was a Lycopodium patient, and we gave the homeopathic remedy, and after 1 week his father died, or his companion died, or he had a great love disappointment, then he may develop acutely an acute constitution like Ignatia. Although he had prescribed Lycopodium because he was a Lycopodium patient, he develops Ignatia, an acute condition, after a strong external stress. This is not a therapeutic proving. This is a new acute constitutional picture because of external factors, not because of our treatment. So, pharmaceutical proving happens only if we violate all the homeopathic laws. We violate the homeopathic law of similarity because we give a remedy that is quite opposite. We don't expect such a thing to happen. From my clinical experience and to the many students that I have taught classical miasmatic constitutional homeopathy, because we have a certain line of rules, strict rules, and because we have a very good knowledge of the chronic constitutions, we don't have such pharmaceutical provings. I never created a pharmaceutical proving to my patient. Not because I'm so smart and such a good doctor with such a good knowledge of the pictures of the homeopathic remedies, but because I don't do foolish things with potencies and with the repeating of the potency very soon and too much. Because, as I have told you, in order to have a pharmaceutical proving, you have to give high dosages, 1 m and higher, quite soon and repeatedly. But a strict law, a strict rule in classical miasmatic constitutional homeopathy is that you give the 1 m chronic prescription and you wait for at least 1 month before you repeat it or give anything else. And at that month, when the patient comes to you, you have a strict judgment with strict criteria, as I have told you when we have talked about the second prescription, the follow-up, in order to decide if your patient is quite well, and that means that you have given the correct remedy. If you decide after 1 month that you haven't given the correct remedy, you change it. You would never repeat the same if you have indications that it wasn't the right one. If you don't, so you never repeat a remedy that wasn't the simillimum. So you have no danger, no possibility of giving again and again the same wrong remedy, so you don't have possibilities for pharmaceutical proving. I deal so much with pharmaceutical proving with this phenomenon because I have often seen it happen when to patients that come from other homeopathic doctors that have these wrong rules of giving again and again a homeopathic remedy quite high or more high. This is due to the wrong interpretation of a certain clinical rule, let's say, that Ken introduced when he said that if you have to start low from 30th potency of 200 potency and go high gradually, or if you give 200 CH potency, sentimental Hahnemannian potency, and the patient is only slightly improved, and then he gets worse, then you have given the correct remedy, and then you have to give 1 m, 10 m, and so on. But Kent insisted that you will repeat the remedy higher and go higher as concerning potency only if you are sure that it is the simillimum. only when it was the simillimum concerning the constitution, the pathological picture, but it wasn't the simillimum concerning the potency. It was low. It wasn't similar to the higher state that the patient was tuned to. So then you are justified to give the remedy, the same remedy on a higher potency. But only then. And not to repeat it again and again while you are not sure about it. You have to be patient. You have to wait, as Kent repeatedly said. You mustn't be in a hurry. You shouldn't repeat again and again the same remedy without being sure that the patient needs it. And it is the simillimum. And you shouldn't go, from my clinical experience, higher than 1M or rarely 10M. I start all my cases or my chronic prescription with 1M potency. Only in some cases that I will tell you when we discuss the issue of potency, we start from lower potencies. Because the 1M potency goes to the bottom of the problem, goes to the psychological level and the physical level. So, there is no danger of creating a pharmaceutical proving to our patient if we follow the simple and strict rules and laws, the homeopathic laws. It's very important to apply the homeopathic and universal laws at our clinical practice, the diagnostic and therapeutic clinical practice. Or else, what we do is not a science. What we do is not scientific. And we have no right to act not scientifically. The state gives us the permission to take in our hands the lives of our patients only because we have studied successfully and became the science of medicine and the science of homeopathy. And we have succeeded in studying it. We got our degree after some years and after tests, and we are legally allowed to practice it only if we practice it scientifically, according to laws and rules. The same thing stands both for an architect, for a civil engineer. He is allowed to build a house or a multi-floor structure only if he has studied architecture or civil engineering, and only if he follows the laws of his science. If he doesn't, then the house may collapse. If we doctors don't, allopathic, homeopathic, any kind of medical doctors, if we don't follow the rules, maybe our patient will collapse. He may have side effects and so on. And we are legally responsible if we don't follow the rules. If we follow the rules but the patient is deteriorating due to his severe problems, due to his way of life, and not due to our wrong implementation, application of our science, then we are not responsible. But we are responsible for the correct application of the homeopathic laws or of the rules of the of the allopathic therapeutic system or the system of acupuncture and so on. Thank you.